What up, YouTube family? It's your boy, Jonathan Evans. Listen, I'm excited because we're going to talk about a new perspective in the new year. Let's get into it. Okay, listen, I'm really going to come at this from a different angle because everybody's talking about a new year. Everybody's talking about new money. Everybody's talking about, your followers, your prestige, get your game up, all of those different things. But Solomon comes at it from a whole different angle. In Ecclesiastes 7:4, he says, "The wise man sets his mind on the house of sorrow, but the fool sets his mind on the house of pleasure." And so he's telling us we need to set our mind differently. We need to have a new perspective in this new year to set our minds on the house of sorrow. And I was thinking, why in the world would I want to do that? Why in the world would I want to set my mind on the house of sorrow and not set my mind on the pleasurable things of this life? And because he's letting you know that if you don't get your expectations right, you're going to be disappointed. He's letting you know that the only difference between 2022 and 2023 is a day. The only difference between 2022 and 2023 is an hour, a minute, and a second. In other words, a lot of people who are dealing with depression in 2022 are still dealing with it in 2023. Dealing with anxiety in 2022, still dealing with it in 2023. Dealing with loss and grief in 2022, still dealing with it in 2023. Just because the time has changed doesn't mean things have changed. We have to change our perspective in the way that we move forward in 2023 so that our expectations are in the right place, because this is life. And Jesus didn't lie to us, did he, when he said, in this world, you will have trouble. So yeah, the time has changed, but we're simply playing the same game. And Solomon is saying, listen, set your mind. If you're wise, you set your mind on the house of sorrow. The Bills game, not that long ago, we were all watching it. Sports Nation was brought down to its knees as we watched Damar Hamlin suddenly drop down to the ground. And when he was putting on his pads, when he was putting on his uniform, I'm in them locker rooms, I know what it's like. And you're strapping it on. The trainers are helping you get it on. You get in front of the mirror. You're thinking about the plays that you're going to make. You're looking at how you look because you look good, you play good. And he had joyful expectations about that night. He was excited about moving forward. The whole team was excited. We were excited to watch the game because there is no expectation that there's going to be sorrow. There's only expectation that it's going to be a pleasurable experience to play the game, to watch the game, to experience the game. But when a curveball comes, even when it's a new game, even when it's a new year, it shuts everything down because nobody is expecting it. Nobody has a mindset of sorrow. Everybody has a mindset of pleasure. And it shut the stadium down. It shut a billion-dollar industry down. It shut Sports Nation down. We were all brought to our knees and brought back to the house of prayer for this man. We were brought back to our relationship with God. We were brought back to not thinking about the money, not thinking about the fame, not thinking about the game, not thinking about the touchdowns, not thinking about the big throws, not thinking about the celebrations, not thinking about any of that, because sorrow brings you back to considering your life. Sorrow brings you back to what's really important. Sorrow makes you shut a billion-dollar industry down because you realize that's not what's important. What's important is life. What's important are the things that we always take for granted. And I remember watching that game and thinking, what is really important? And all the sportscasters had to change their whole tune from the game to life. What's really important? Solomon lets you know if you want to have your perspective right in 2023, if you don't want to be let down too low in 2023, then go ahead and start at the right place. Set your mind on the house of sorrow. Because when you set your mind there, it's amazing what happens. You realize what's important. You realize, oh wait, my family is number one. You realize, oh wait, my children are number one. You realize, oh wait, my closest relationships are number one. And it was a friend of mine, Jerry Flowers, who said, procrastination is the expectation you'll have the same opportunity tomorrow. People procrastinate when they're entitled. People procrastinate when they're only thinking about the pleasures. I'll get to it. People don't procrastinate when they're thinking about sorrow. When I experience loss, when you experience loss, when we experience all of the phone calls that we all got at the new year with people in the hospital, people in the ICU, it changes your game. It changes what you're focused on. So in the new year, I want you to focus and set your mind on the house of sorrow. Why? Because I want you to get up in the morning and simply be grateful that you have life. I want you to get up in the morning and simply be grateful that you have a new day. I want you to recognize that it's the things that we think are the little things in life that are the biggest things in life. The things that we ignore, the conversation with my wife, I'm not ignoring it. The bedtime stories with my kids, I'm not ignoring it. The prayer time and family time we have around the table, I'm not ignoring it. What God is calling me to do in my life, that's what I'm looking for. If you follow me or don't follow me, that's not my prerogative. If I get the likes or don't get the likes, that's not what I'm living for. Because in the house of sorrow, you realize chasing the wind doesn't even matter. All throughout the book of Ecclesiastes, he's saying, man, this don't matter, that don't matter, this is vanity. You chasing the wind. It's like picking up sand only to watch all the sand creep through your fingers, only to keep picking it up over and over again. And that's what we all do at the top of the year. We're like, it's a new year. I'm excited. It's a new year. These are the things that I'm going to accomplish. And most times, not that it's bad, but we set our mind on the house of pleasure. And we're thinking about how we're going to grow, where we're going to go, what we're going to do, the vacations we're going on, how I'm going to go better and higher and reach all of the peaks in life. And Solomon is saying, yeah, but what are you going to do when you get hit with that curveball? What are you going to do when what you were doing in the locker room is totally different than what you experience on the field? What are you going to do when life falls down? What are you going to do when you go from a beating experience to a cardiac experience? You see, every year people have a cardiac experience. Every year people fall down in different ways, whether it's literal life and death, or whether it's literal finances, or whether it's your relationships or divorce. And all of these things happen every year. And every year we come back to the next year saying the same thing. It's a new year. It's going to change. Is it going to change, or are you going to change even if it doesn't? That's the question that you have to ask in the new year. Solomon lets you know, man, all of that stuff is vanity. So when I write my goals this new year, when you write your goals this new year, I wonder what's going to be on it. I wonder if it's just going to be about followers, notoriety, pleasures, vacations, all of the things in life. It's not bad stuff. Is it vanity? Is it what Solomon's talking about in Ecclesiastes, where he owns the whole world, basically, the richest man who ever lived, and he's sitting in his room thinking about how all of this means nothing? That's his conclusion? That is nothing better but for a man to look at his life and for a woman to look at his life from the house of sorrow and say, you know what, what's really important? So this 2023, this year, you're going to experience sorrow. I know you're like, dang, Jonathan, you downing us. I'm preparing you. It's a new time, but you're still playing the same exact game. I'm preparing. You already know what 2022 was. You already know what 2021 was. You already know what 2020 was. You already know what 2019 was. You already know what 2018 was. This is not new. But we come to the new year and we act like we're not living in the same world. Get your mind right and set those goals. Number one for me, my relationship with God has got to go to the next level because He is the one who sustains me. He is the one who gives me a peace that surpasses all understanding. He is the one that makes sure that my path is straight when I put all of my trust in Him. My number one goal is not for people. My number one goal is not for things. My number one goal is not material. My number one goal is immaterial. Why? Because I'm setting my mind on the house of sorrow. And He's the only one who can help me with that. Number two, for me, my family. What do you care about more than this life and the people who are closest to you? Then your unit, the people who you actually huddle up with to run the place. My wife is going to get the best husband she's ever had. Why? I have my mind set on the house of sorrow. What if something crazy happens to me or my wife? I'm going to be thinking about I shoulda, woulda, coulda? Nope. Not interested in that. Not me. I'm going to go to God's word. What does the Bible tell me to do as a husband? That's what she's going to get. I'm giving my best. My kids, they get my best. That doesn't mean I'm going to be perfect, but I have my mind set on the house of sorrow. Not just on the pleasures. The pleasures will come. But I have my mind set in the right place so that I don't walk out of the room at night and be too lazy to pray. Walk out of the room at night and be too lazy for that bedtime story because I'm tired. And I know there's going to be a lot of nights that I'm tired, but I don't want to procrastinate. Why don't I want to procrastinate? Because a procrastination is the entitlement that I'll have the same opportunity tomorrow. And I just shared with you the story of Damar. And you have your own story. I got calls of my friends having accidents and all these crazy things happening. And we look at those things and we say, that's them, not me. And we just continue on chasing after the pleasure? No, I'm going to make time. That's my New Year's resolution. God, family, my responsibilities. I want to make sure that I'm doing what God tells me to do, no matter what the culture is trying to push me to do. Because when I'm not here, when the house of sorrow hits me and I'm no longer here, I'm not going to be seeing y'all. I'm going to be seeing Him. God, family, my spiritual responsibilities, my team, the people around me who can hold me accountable in this life, the people around me that I love, the people around me that I want to spend time with, that I want to engage with, the people around me that I know have my back, the people around me that are sending me in the right direction, the people around me who are my iron that sharpens iron like one man sharpens another. And so that's my top 4. If I pay attention to those top 4, the pleasure will come. If I have my mind in the right space, I don't have to have my mind on the house of pleasure. I can set my mind on the house of sorrow and make sure that I'm taking care of things that most people take for granted. But then when sorrow comes, all of a sudden it's a big deal. No, it's got to be a big deal before the sorrow comes. So you set your mind there. And hopefully 2023 won't be much sorrow. Hopefully 2023, there'll be very little pain. Hopefully that's what we want. We want to make sure it's not going to be that tough. But if it is, you'll be prepared because you have set your mind in the right place, because we live here. It's called life. Let's go get it together. Be steadfast, unmovable, always abound in the work of the Lord, and know that it will not go in vain. Listen, like, share, subscribe, ring the bell. Let's continue to grow together. Let's go. What up, everybody? It's Jonathan Evans. Listen, I hope you liked that video. There's many more. If you want to join this team, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell, all of that. You know what to do. Join the team. Let's continue to grow together. Let's go.